Hey folks, welcome back to Real Estate Excellence with your host Tracy Hayes. This young man is quickly becoming the best of the best in Northeast Florida. Before the age of 30, he bought into the Engel Völkers franchise. He was recognized in the top 40, under 40, and he's way under 40 in the Jacksonville Business Journal for 2020, if I recall correct, and is the fastest growing real estate brokerage in 2021 here in Northeast Florida. He has been busy filling his trophy shelves with continued success month in and month out. Let's welcome the broker owner of Engel and Volkers here in Northeast Florida, Corey Hasting.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely. Thank you.
Excellent. So I didn't put the S on the Engels and I didn't put the S on the Hastings. But Corey, I appreciate you coming by because, the more I dug in, as I always, see a popular guest that hopefully be popular for my audience, and then I dig deeper and more, and I know I'm just scratching the surface on your story.
Yeah, I mean it's been tremendous. I always joke that if you would have told me 3.5 years ago when we opened this company that we'd be sitting here today, I don't know if I would have believed you.
Right.
Because when I first opened Engel Völkers Jacksonville, I had just turned 27 when I bought the franchise. And so I was the youngest franchise owner in company history that's been around since 1977. I think I still am. So it's just been tremendous, but it's a testament to the team that we have. It's a testament to the advisors we brought on and just the opportunity that we had in the city like Jacksonville.
We're definitely going to dig into that because, because of your young age and your recruiting, I'm going to work into that. But I tapped into something. I was scrolling through this morning with my sales manager here and talking about you coming in, and I came across the Inman Connect conference in Vegas. You were a guest speaker.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone knows I'm a big Ryan Serhant fan, and that's what caught the picture. Was Corey was there with Ryan in the hallway there. How was that something that Engels Völkers, did they reach out to you? What is the whole conference, I guess, about?
So Inman is probably, if not the who's who of real estate as far as publication, news, online presence. It's essentially like People's Magazine, but strictly for real estate. And so twice a year, obviously non-COVID, they do conferences, once in Vegas, once in New York. And it's just a great conference for real estate professionals to come in. They bring in amazing speakers, great people that are really in tune with technology or in tune with brokers or in tune with agents or whatever else. And it's just huge collaboration. I mean, the one that we went to in Vegas, I think there was like 4,000 people there, and it's all real estate.
This is in October.
Yeah.
And with COVID still going on, you had 4,000 people. That's a pretty good turnout.
And so it was amazing. And so being a part of Engel Völkers and being that we're, this huge national brand or global brand has its perks. And so where Engel Völkers Americas is a sponsor of a lot of the Inman events. And so each sponsor kind of gets to nominate, 5 to 7 speakers each year. And then Inman has a process that they go through and then say, hey, this is what topics we're looking for, who fits criteria, so on and so forth. And so, I was very blessed to speak on stage, and we talked about teams and where the direction of the real estate industry is going towards teams and how to structure it.
Were you the youngest guy there?
Probably, yeah.
youngest speaker there.
Yeah, I mean, it probably
was.
I mean, I didn't see many people who looked younger than me. Let's put it that way. I don't
Unless
know
they were in
age.
the technology. If they were the technology guys, they might have been the same age.
Yeah. And so it was an amazing experience. I followed Inman for even before I opened the brokerage. I mean, it's an amazing. It's where you get your news if you want real estate information.
I am not familiar with the conference. Is it good for loan officers, or is it really more designed for the agents and their?
I think it's more designed for the agents and brokers. I'm sure that they have some type of lender types. I know there's a ton of lending sponsorships there, and they have like an expo you can walk through and do that type of stuff.
Right.
But it's definitely more towards I think their whole slogan is by the agent for the agent. And so it's, it's industry news as far as which trending topics are going and all of that. And so it's very blessed to be able to be on stage.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's go back. I'm back on track though, as I normally start every show. Where are you from?
So I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. I played football at Ohio University, and then after that, I was blessed to play with the Cincinnati Bengals for a short time. And that's part of how I got to Jacksonville, to be honest with you, is, I got cut in Cincinnati, and, it was I always joked that it was December in Cincinnati, which is probably like the worst place on earth to be. And so my agent at the time knew a trainer and knew some people in Jacksonville, and was like, hey, why don't you go down there? There's some opportunity there. So I moved down, worked out with the Jags, Titans, and Dolphins. All of them said I wasn't fast enough. But that's how I really got into it. And that's how I got into real estate is, I needed a job that I can create my own schedule and still be able to work out in the morning. And so I got my real estate license.
Now, did I read correctly? Your mom's in real estate as well.
Yeah. So she's been in real estate forever. She's currently a broker in Nashville. And so she and I kind of were thinking back in, this is 2013, hey, what can I do to make money? And she's like, well, you need something to this, that. Well, why don't you get your real estate license?
Right.
And I was like, Mom, I know one person in this entire city. How am I going to sell real estate?
Right.
And so it was just kind of fascinating to see how it could work.
Just you said something there. One person in the city that's so and you mentioned you bought the franchise, and you were 27 years old. Don't know many people at all.
Yeah.
What was your? I mean, you must have had a vision. What was your motivation that said, man, I'm going to go all in on this? Because I mean, most people say, I don't know anyone here. I'm going to invest in a franchise.
Yeah.
In that name.
Yeah.
And the fact that, the interesting part. I mean, I assume Engel and Völker screened you in some way, shape, or form. They weren't going to sell their franchise to just anyone.
No. Yeah.
So how did you make that connection to?
Yeah. So it's kind of a long story, but when I moved here, I got licensed at 23, and at the time, and I say it's like at the time, this was 2013, 2014, beginning 2014, and in NEFAR there was only 4,000 agents, and I was the youngest agent in my office by 15 years because it wasn't popular yet.
Not at Engel and Völker, at another.
No,
brokerage.
at a different brokerage. Yeah, different brokerage. But I knew that nobody was ever going to outwork me. And so I moved here, and I never let not knowing people stop me, because realistically, I'm a 23-year-old kid. My friends are not buying anyway. So I didn't really care. I didn't know anybody. So I did a lot of online lead generation, did a lot of networking, a lot of open houses. I mean, I knew that I've always been very goal-oriented. And so I knew that if I wanted to be a top 50 agent, I could be one. And so my very first year, had a lot of good success. Actually left the brokerage I was at, went to a different brokerage, worked for a competing broker. Wasn't for me, went back. And then in 2016 and 2017, I was a top 50 agent in the entire city, years 3 and 4 in the industry. And then so in beginning of 2017, one of my best friends, Bo Blankenship, is the Engel and Völkers rep from 30A Destin area. He called me and he's like, hey, have you ever heard of this company? I'm going to open this brokerage. It's the next big thing. You need to look into it. But at the time, I wasn't sure, number one, if Jacksonville was ready for Engel Völkers yet, and I wasn't sure if I was ready for Engel Völkers yet.
Right.
And so the entire calendar year of 2017, it kind of was an aha moment. Beginning of the year, me and him had this conversation. A few months later, I'm walking the streets of Buckhead, Atlanta with a lot of my friends, and I walk right by the Engel Völkers shop there. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Fast forward a few months later, I'm in a family vacation in Savannah, Georgia, right by the Engel Völkers shop there. I'm like, oh, this is kind of following me around now. And then
isn't that amazing? It's like you buy a car, you see
like everything you see. And then 2 months later, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, walk right by the Engel Völkers shop there. And I'm like, okay, now this is a God thing. This is telling me to do this. And then I flew to New York, met with Anthony Hitt, did the whole process, met with the Florida crew, and I was blown away, to be honest with you. And I knew that if I could run it how I want to be ran and do it differently, that we would have a lot of good success, because real estate in Jacksonville hasn't changed much in 40 years. And so everybody kind of knows what each brand offers, but I wanted to do something different. And that's really what I was looking for. And I never would let my age become like an obstacle, because I was going to present myself like I was older, and I was going to study. Even though I was a first-time broker, I was going to know every question, and so
I'm gonna take a line from your bio that you put on my introductory thing, which I'm sure you have in other places. Corey found home in Jacksonville, Florida in 2013, bringing extensive knowledge and experience of the real estate market. So that was I was like, man, this guy's he gets it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you're getting it. You got it early at a young age. Whether it came from your mom, I didn't know. What the background there, if you were following her and she was teaching you or mentoring you. Imagine she had some influence with her experience. But I'm like, how are you, and I'm jumping forward in my whole interview process here, but since we're on, you're 27, 28, 29, and you're 31 now?
Just turned 31.
Just turned 31. and you're recruiting, and I know you, and there's a couple teams that I've worked here and there with that you stole. Oh, that's just stole.
I like that word.
They volunteered to come over.
Yeah.
But you attracted them to your show,
yeah.
and that your show was better, and the brand was going to give them that whatever it was. But you recruited them. Bottom line, you recruited them to come to you in your show. And I'm like, how is this guy doing? And he's recruiting these brokers that are twice his age.
Yeah.
What is it?
I mean, it's a combination of a lot of things. To be honest with you,
is it the coffee? Coffee has something to do with it?
It may be the coffee. I am obsessed with coffee. But no, I mean, for us, one of the things that attracted me to Engel Völkers is the systems, the tools, the globalization, everything that just Jacksonville didn't have. And so part of the reason why I opened it is because the opportunity to sell a brokerage like that is never been here before. And so I knew that would attract people. But then what we wanted to do is I wanted to create something that really made us different. And so for us, we're the only brokerage in the entire city that doesn't just have a revolving door, which means every single person who wants to be a part of our firm has to fit 3 main criteria for us, and we do not deviate from it. Number 1 is culture. We only want really good people. We only want full-time agents. We only want people who want to help others grow. And that, to me, is the most important thing. Number 2 is every single person who's a part of our brokerage has to sell $3 million or more per year to even be a part of our firm, which doesn't seem like that much, but I have 11,000 agents in the 5 major counties. There's less than 1,000 agents who do more than $3 million. And our biggest thing is we want to be held to a higher standard in every single facet of the business, from the way that we know the industry, from the way we know the contract, where we know the market. Because for us, we call ourselves advisors because we can truly advise our customers on the buying and selling of the property. And number 3 is we have some of the best technology, some of the best lead generation tools, some of the best listing presentation tools. So just being able to kind of get that into your business. And, you know, our first year when we opened April 30th of 2018, we had 3 agents because we didn't really recruit much prior to getting the actual Jacksonville Beach shop open yet. And then, you know, we started just recruiting more different people. We got kind of lucky with, you know, like big names, like let's say Joni Hayes, for example. She was kind of our big, oh my God, what's going on now? And then we got, you know, Sandy Miller, and then we got, you know, all these big people. And then once you kind of create this avalanche effect, now you're the kind of, okay, what's going on over there? I gotta take the meeting.
Exactly.
Because I knew that once I could get them in the meeting, I could show them things they've never seen before. I can show them things that their brokerage they've never had, or how it can truly help them. And let's be honest.
Some of them need a fresh start too.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. When I saw someone move over, I'm like, they're looking for a fresh start. It must be something going on there, and they need to just change the jersey.
And for us, you know, let's be honest. I mean, big agents want to work with really big agents, you know, and for us, not having any new agents and being able to walk across the hall and say, hey, $25 million producer, I, number 1, respect you. I know your name. And also, can you help me with this lead generation platform? And can I ask you questions that actually matter?
You just said something that was so powerful right there. Big agents want to play with big agents.
Yeah.
And there's a couple other offices that are successful. Your recruiting in the last, obviously, handful of years is just amazing to bring that talent over. But where too many agents see other agents as competitors. Yeah. This is the football locker room, because you mentioned that somewhere I was reading, you brought your experience over. And when you play sports at a high level, you understand, you know, everybody in the room is an all-star. When you're on an NFL team, all those guys are all-stars. Yeah. They've been all-stars at whatever level that, you know, prior. You're bringing them in the room, and that synergy, if you can use that fancy word, synergy, just rises up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's imperative. I mean, obviously, I'm a very firm believer that success breeds other success. And so excitement is also very contagious. And so if you have an office or a shop that is surrounded by people all doing really, really well and all collaborating and helping each other, those people who are around those people are going to also be successful.
Yes.
One of my favorite stats that we have, 87% of our advisors increased their production within the first 6 months being part of our firm, which is a testament to a lot of things that we offer and everything of that nature. But it's also, it's being the instant culture right away and being able to collaborate with people that they might not have been able to otherwise. Or, you know, when I would work at other brokerage firms, the top agents would go into the office, close their door and say, don't bother me, right? Right. That's not what I wanted here. And, and that's the culture that we've built is I don't care if you're my number 1 agent or my 30th agent. You guys are most likely going to know each other, get along, and be able to text each other and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or hey, what about this idea?
I love your concept because we were talking prior to the show about podcasts we listened to, and recently I've been listening to the Mortgage Market Animals with Carl White. Those in the loan officer world probably have seen his name and so forth. But one of the things he talks about as a loan officer is to really work with qualified agents. What they consider a qualified agent is someone who does at least 8 buyer side deals a year.
Yeah.
You mentioned $3 million.
Yeah.
In this market, that's about right.
Yeah. And people always ask me like, well, the bigger you get, like, what about your time? And what about this? I'm like, I don't get phone calls, because all of our producers have been in the industry for a really long time. And the calls that I do get is more just instant validation. Hey, I think this is correct. I just want to run this by you, or, all of that, and so.
Are you still produce?
No, I don't produce.
Making sure the culture.
Absolutely. I tell
backdoor stuff is.
Yeah. Like my job on a day-to-day basis is to continue to grow brand awareness by bringing great agents on, opening new locations, offering more marketing tools. My job, and hasn't been since the day we opened, was never to sell. My job is to grow the brand, bring great people on, and continue to hopefully increase ourselves into the top 5, top 3 brokerages.
Well, I often feel, and we talk about it here, it is market share, and that's what you're talking about. You've brought in some. If it was an NFL team, you'd be paying them lots of millions of dollars, bringing them in because you're going after the Super Bowl every month after month, and you brought this in, and you're grabbing market share very quickly, because you've recruited some of the best names in Northeast Florida.
Yeah, I mean, we joke that we probably have the most attention on us of any brokerage, and we love that because for us, we really want to break the mold of how real estate is done. For the longest time, market share in this city was done by how many locations you have and how many agents you have. And for us, it's the complete opposite. What we want to do is we want to have the most market share by how much does each producer produce volume-wise and transactional sides. We don't care how many locations we have. We don't care how many people we have. Because for us, I would rather have 100 agents doing $1 billion a year than 500 doing $1 billion a year.
Right.
It makes my life easier, my admin staff's life easier, their life easier. And it also, because of the level of advisors that we have, it allows me to have a personal relationship with them because we're not always having to talk about binder disputes and contracts and what did you do wrong.
Or getting that call from that person that does 2 deals a year on how to write the contract again because they haven't written one in so long, and it's just sucking your time and energy out. I'm with you on that one.
I mean, your time is your most valuable asset you can possibly have. And so for me, I said to myself, give me 80 to 100 great producers who know the contract, know the systems, know everything, and let me just be friends with them. Let me care about their lives. And also I'm there to help them, if they need something. But
they need to go on vacation, you're there to pick up because you built this family. It's a large family because the locations, which I want to get into next, but your concept is obviously as different people I brought on the show. Melissa Ricks was one of them. She has a totally different concept of how she does her business versus the team vision you see a lot around town. It's her. She is the focal point with her support. You're supplying support, but again, your time is limited. But with you everyone is producing 3 million or more. It's worth your payout to help them out and continue them going. And I think where the other concept of some of the larger brokers, they'll just sign anyone up who wants to put their name there, and they've got thousands of agents, and you have to obviously expand your support staff. Now, hopefully those extra get paid off. But I want to go tap into the locations because I've your Facebook, and if you haven't been on Corey's Facebook site, I mean, first class. I haven't even stepped into them, but the pictures. Pictures, I think Amelia did just open.
Yeah, we just opened
Amelia's 2 weeks ago. And those pictures are up, and I'm like, man, I can just feel the energy when just walking in there. Imagine your agents do when they do come in, or if they do bring a client by or a client walks in. It's like, man, this is first class.
Yeah. So one of the best things about this brand and with Engel Völkers is the international shop concept. So every single shop that you walk into from Jacksonville Beach to Capri, Italy are all the exact same. And so it allows you to have an amazing brand identity.
Except for the electrical outlets.
Probably, yeah. But it allows you to have amazing brand identity around the world. And so if your highest customer is skiing in Aspen and like, oh, I'm selling my house with the Engel Völkers Jacksonville agent, and they walk into the Aspen office, it's going to look the exact same. The advisors are held to the exact same standard. And so that is an amazing, amazing thing. And every single office that we open, we have one goal in mind: to be the nicest shop around. And so that's why, our shops are, we call them shops because for us, people think offices, they go in and buy something, right? That they're meeting about whatever. But the shop concept is more mentally of, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to purchase something, like I'm going shopping like to the mall. And so, we have a lot of glass, a lot of modern, we bring the coffee mugs out. We create the whole entire different atmosphere because whenever they step foot into one of our locations, we want them to immediately think, this is different. And that's the whole entire goal, because that's the whole thing with our company.
All right. So, one of the big brokers names out there, EXP, is growing. Totally different concept, almost
Totally
opposite standard. They're totally non-shop.
Yep.
Your shop. You've opened some shops. I'm gonna put some pressure on you here.
Okay.
You've opened some shops in some very high-end strip malls.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. Where you're putting these locations, I mean, I know the one on 210 down the street from my house is not inexpensive.
Yeah.
How is that? I have an idea, but I want your vision, because you had to go through your mind going, why am I paying that much on a lease for this location? Is it really going to drive the business? Are you seeing that investment that you're making? Whether it's recruiting, because a part of it's not just the buyer.
Absolutely.
Someone's recruiting the agent who is recruiting the buyer.
Yeah.
Bring him in. What is the mindset behind that?
Yeah,
vision?
I mean, the whole entire process,
or ideology, I guess, if you want to call it.
Yeah, and so there's a whole concept that a lot of people go back to when they build brokerage offices. Are you doing it for the client, or are you doing it for the broker, right? Or for the agents,
or for the ego.
Yeah, yeah. And some of the ones around town with the size, you never know.
Yeah.
But for us, we typically always build it for the agent, because then the agent will bring the buyer. And so we really want to have a place to where the agent can take extreme pride on bringing their sellers in, bringing their family in, bringing anybody they want to show off the brand they work for, because they take pride in who they work for.
That's part of.
It's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge. And so, yes, there's a lot of virtual brokerages in today's market, and there's a lot of online things, right? But at the core of this industry is a customer service based industry. And I don't care who you are or where you are, that is the soul of this business, and it always will be. Now, different cities are more progressive. Different cities are a little bit further behind as far as where they're on that level, let's say. But for us, we want to build a space to where our advisors can have any meetings they want 24/7, essentially. A lot of our agents will hold BNI meetings. They'll hold TED Talks in there. We want to be in the community. And we want our advisors to think, oh, I need meeting space. Let's go to my office. It's beautiful. I would love for you guys to take you there. And so, yeah, it's expensive, and yeah, there's a lot of cost with it. But for the return on investment, let's say, with how happy our producers are and with how happy our customers are when they walk into that, it's a feeling that they never felt anywhere else. And so a lot of offices, real estate offices in general, are kind of old and kind of outdated, and they probably have somebody mean sitting up front or something like that. And it's just the complete opposite for us. We want a whole different experience.
Right. It's so interesting. Daniel's filmed just about every show I've done, but the different concept in Jacksonville is so hot right now. I don't want to say anyone can just get out there and do it. I think anyone get out there and could feed themselves.
Yeah.
But to accelerate like you have, and obviously you do a great job of your energy's obviously there at 31 years old. That's probably drinking the coffee too. But when you're sitting down with that broker from over here at this, very well known. Not that Engel Völkers is not known. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could agree it's not big as the Keller Williams or obviously Watson in our area. Everyone sees those names and have for years.
Yeah. But
to be able to attract that person, I think part of it is your energy, and you got to have the vision.
I mean, you got to have the vision. I mean, people want to be inspired. I think a good leader not only can find other people's strengths, but also can inspire others. And so I think for me, that's why I'm so big on that your energy is contagious. If you're down in the dumps and people are going to feel that. But if you're excited and believing in them and empowering them, they're also going to believe that. And so, and that's why, we're really, really big that if you come on board with us and you walk through our door, that from that then to the next year is your greatest year ever. And that's your whole entire mentality, or don't come. Because, if you're making the move to stay the same, then it's not going to work out. We want people to grow. We want people to take that next step in their career. We have a lot of advisors who love calling us grad school. We've already been through the undergrad, you're already in the contract, you've already built your business, this, and that. But now you're going to have a company that you've never had before supporting you with the marketing and globalization and lead generation, all of these things to really hopefully take you to the next step.
It's interesting how you said that, and it made me think immediately. It's because everyone in the office is producing.
Yeah.
And now how often they may come into the office is another thing. But again, you don't have 2,000, 3,000 agents listed, and really only, a few hundred of them really producing at a level. You're totally focused on agents who are moving and grooving, really.
Yeah.
I mean, really making up a substantial income, because you can go at it kind of part-time and do okay.
Of course.
Make better than the average person. But really the ones that are making several hundreds of thousands to $1 million plus a year, I mean, that's who you're focused on. You're focused on those top end, the top 50 agents as you became before buying into the franchise.
And for us, I mean, I always tell people that there's an extremely different type of broker that a brand new agent needs and a high producer needs. And there's nothing wrong with either one of them. But everything that we do, from the support staff to the marketing to the brokerage style to everything, is built for the top producer. And so part of the reason we don't take new agents, obviously because we don't have the training for them, but also I think a lot of times it'd be doing them an injustice, because I don't have the training they need. I don't have like the concepts they need to learn the core concept of the business itself.
Right.
Because those first 6 to 8 months of training are valuable. And so we get calls all the time of, hey, I've heard this, I want to get into the business, or this and that. And unfortunately, we can't bring them on, unless they want to join a team or something of that nature that's already with us. But, we just do not deviate from that.
Go get your at-bats with...
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care how many people you know in this city or what you know about real estate. Your first year is just drinking out of a fire hose. I mean, it's unbelievable. And you have to go and take that and learn. And that way, years 2, 3, and 4, you can grow and you can do those things and say, hey, I made that mistake before, I'm not going to make it again. And so that's the people that we're looking for, who's already been kind of past those beginning years. And now they really focused on, okay, I've been in the industry 3 years. I understand what I don't have, I understand what I'm good at, and I understand what I need. And that's hopefully where we can fill those blanks on what do you need and what can we do for you.
So there's agents out there doing 3, 5, 10 million right now. What is it that you're doing differently? You say you're focusing for the high producer versus that getting that person off the runway. Yeah. What are you doing differently? Your trainings are tailored differently? Your marketing tailored differently? What is it that you're doing that high producer? Because I'm a loan officer, so I don't know. I understand. Anybody new needs to learn and get at bats. But you're taking people that have had plenty at bats. Most of them think they can do it themselves. Yeah. What would be their benefit to come over to you? Yeah. And it's going to give them that next step.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very complex question, but I think at the core of it is we have everything you need and more. So a lot of big agents identify, hey, I need marketing. We have that in-house. And it's streamlined for the point where less than 24 hours, everything you need is done. I need, as a big agent, they may think.
Now, is this coming from you internally or from the greater?
A little bit of both. So we have an amazing admin staff led by Christina, and then Alex and Crystal. They do amazing. We also have a headquarters in Naples, Florida, that can have any type of thing we may need. But also, I mean, the big agent may think, hey, I need a brand that I can leverage, right? That was my biggest thing. Is I wanted the brand that I could leverage, that then the brand could kind of work for me.
As a young guy, you
absolutely
don't have necessarily the reputation yet.
It's huge. And so that's what Engel Völkers provides, is a brand you can believe in, brand you can take pride in and leverage with the tools and everything we give. But also big agents may think, hey, I need more lead generation, right? We have that too. I mean, really anything that you can think of, we have, and every single person needs something different. And so I'm not saying other brokerages don't have that. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But what I'm saying is that you're
focused in.
We're focused
because you're only dealing with producers.
We've had it.
You're not being drugged down by.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not say that they're the part timers are dead weight, because like I said, you don't. If you just want to be a part time in real estate, you can do that.
Absolutely.
If you're happy with that, that's your cup of tea.
I tell people all the time that we're not for everybody, and that's okay. We don't have to be, you know. And there's a lot of really big producers who I've met with that say, "Hey, it's not for me." Okay, no problem. And just like the newer agent, I mean, we're not for them yet, but that's okay. And the best thing about our brand is we can be selective, where a lot of these other brokerages have to bring people on. Or if you have a breath and a real estate license, come on, and they have to, right? Because there's so much turnover or whatever else. And for us, it's okay to be selective. It's no problem with that.
I really, golly, that is amazing. If anyone's listening to what's going on, and you know, that's a niche and you're focused on it and you're selling or recruiting with it, and it's working, and that's just amazing. So I want to step in here a little bit, because obviously I got my personal development books, at least some of them here. I'm a big Ryan Serhant, and you got to meet Ryan in Vegas. It was an awesome experience. And I imagine that you're because he's well, I don't know, how old is Ryan now? Is he 40?
I think he just turned 40. I think.
Okay,
we're really close to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, he started. Well, you started a little bit younger than him, because he started about 10, 12 years ago, approximately. Yeah. As well. But what do you do? Because I think there's a lot of young people, and there's a lot. Actually, when I say all people, I'm not gonna say young people, old people. I'm gonna say all people. To me. Can improve, or if they're in a rut in life, can get out of it. What do you do though? Because you have to stay in front of some of these agents. 20 years experience you got under your signage there. What do you do to stay? Are you a podcast listener, a book reader? Who do you follow?
Yeah. All of it. You know, one of the biggest things that I take a lot of pride in is, you know, like I said before, I've always been extremely goal-oriented. And so no matter, you know, no one is ever going to outwork me in anything. It's probably one of my biggest downfalls as well. But so for me, you know, I'm always going to stay on top of the news. If it's Inman News, if it's reading Serhant's book, if it's reading, you know, business books about how to grow a business, or if it's listening to podcasts about the best broker techniques, whatever it may be, I'm going to be all in. Because I'm really big on never being the smartest person in the room, because if you surround yourself with somebody who has done it before, and even maybe not in your industry, but you can always take something from somebody. If it's operational, if it's business, if it's lead generation, if it's this, that, whatever it may be. And then I have a great team around me that I can say, hey, I've heard of this concept. How can we do it? And, you know, then, you know, Christina and Crystal and Alex and all of them, we kind of sit together and say, okay, how can we do it that's the EV way? Because for us, we always want to take something and elevate it to the next level. And that way, when we roll it out to our advisors, it's just, wow, I've never even heard of this before. And it blows them kind of away, hopefully. And so for me, I think it's just, I've always been extremely self-motivated. And so I think that just pushes me, you know, every day. Not always like to be the best and be number one and all that stuff, but just being better each day.
So give me an inch. You're 31 years old. You're taking in information as fast as it comes, whether it's a book, a podcast, or you know, within your team, or going to a conference and grabbing a nugget. Because even, well, you were a guest speaker, you didn't pay for the Inman conference, but if someone wanted to sit in the Inman, how much would they pay for that ticket?
I think it was close to $1,000. I think
$1,000. All right, and I've heard podcasts, you should be spending, I don't know, like 3% of your income or stuff on personal development or coach or whatever. Yeah. And you think, and if you're an agent out there right now and you've hit a rut, I mean, Corey's telling you right now that you invest some of that. You need to go to an Inman conference, or whether it's I don't know if you go to Cordone's thing down in Miami, whatever, Serhant speaking, whatever, you need to go, and you need to, now you may listen for 10 hours.
Absolutely.
And really could have been there for 15 minutes for the right amount of time, but you had to spend the 10 hours to find the 15 minutes.
You got to be there, right?
Yes, you got to be there and be present.
Yeah, and I think just in life, not necessarily in our business, but in life, I think a lot of people become comfortable.
Complacent.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I'm really big on success. Either, number one, makes you strive for more success, or it makes you complacent because you've had success, right? Right. And I think a lot of times it may be that time for the fresh start, because you've been in the industry for so long and you're kind of in this little rut that you might not even know you're in. And being able to step outside the box and maybe go to that Tony Robbins seminar, or read Ryan's book or something, just to kind of get yourself rejuvenized. Because in this business especially, those 12 months are brutal. I mean, the ups and downs of this business. I always joke that real estate is the craziest industry in the world where you can work so hard for something that somebody else has to say yes to. And you don't get paid for it unless they say yes. Yeah. And so it's brutal. And so you have to find things that bring you back to neutral. You know, if it's going to the gym, if it's going for a walk, if it's listening to podcasts, reading, family time, whatever that may be. We talk all the time in our brokerage, never getting too up, never getting too down. We want to be as like small waves, essentially. Yeah. Yes, you had a great, fantastic month. Don't forget the prospect, because if you don't do that, then the next month you're going to be slow, and then you're going to complain. Then you're going to be, that's where I think a lot of people in life, but also agents, they're too up, too down, right? Have 4 closings one month, none the next. 5 closings next, none the next. And so we try to keep it slow and steady, because 12 months is brutal if you let yourself get burnt out. And so I think in any form of life, I think in any type of high pressure position, which let's be honest, real estate is, you have to find things that make you step away from the business and just recharge. And I think once you find that, you can then go every single day to be able to be better.
And I mean, I find it when I'm listening, we talked about it earlier before the show, listening to a podcast, and there's so many out there, guys, obviously I wish you'd review mine, make comments or whatever. Hopefully what Corey's talking about, you're feeling his energy, because that's what's really what this is all about. But you're listening to someone else's story and how they became success. I've had 2 women on in the last month that are tops in real estate in Northeast Florida. Both of them, literally within the last roughly decade, had nothing. Were negative in their checking account, and they chose to take the path. Start reading, start talking to people, learning about the industry, everything they could, and absorb it in. And what I think they found, energy. They found your energy that you give off and why they want to work for you.
I mean, I think the thing...
Or work with you, I should say.
Yeah, and I think you have to find what motivates you, right? Because, what's the old kind of corny saying, if you find something you love, you never work a day in your life. I kind of really believe in that, to be honest, because I love getting to know people. I love watching people's business grow. I love real estate. And so, somebody else's passion might be something else, but then you're stuck in your job, and you have to find what makes you happy in life. And maybe that's not real estate, maybe it is, whatever else. But if you are passionate about it, then go be the best. Go all in. Like, put your foot forward and work harder than everybody else, and don't let other people dictate you how things should be done.
I think I've said it on almost every podcast. This should be close to number 40. Or at least at most of our podcasts, one of the cornerstones in every one of these books, surround yourself by 5 people that you want to be like. Be like you mentioned earlier, be the 5th person in the room. In there. And you have made offices where those 5 people that you should be hanging out with are already in that office. You've already created. So if you're an agent out there looking, going, hey, I just can't seem to make it to the next level. I need to surround myself by successful people. You may want to give Corey a call.
I mean, I would love that call, by the way. But yeah, I mean, and that's the concept, right? Because if you walk into an office and you see the same people every day who are complaining about X, and they're down, and they're this, and oh my gosh, it's me, you're going to walk into yourself, you're going to say, I can't come here anymore. But if you walk into the same place and they're chipper and they're saying, hey, how are you today? How is your business? Well, tell me about what you have going on, and let me see if I can help you. That it's going to be so different. And I'm not saying that we are this like cult group that's like, we have hard times too. But at the same time, I think attitude is everything, and mindset is everything. And so if you walk into January 1st, that this is going to be my greatest year ever, and every decision that I make from January 1st to December 31st this is my year. So from marketing to this, to open houses on Saturday when you really don't want to, and all these other things, it'll pay off. But if you walk in January 1st and you're like, I had a good year last year, but I really don't care if I grow. Guess what? In April, you're going to be probably sitting with a goose egg. And you're going to say, oh my God, I got to get going. And you just lost 4 months. And so mindset is everything. And that's why for our brokerage, like, we business plan a year in advance. And so we start business planning in the end of November through December.
Because what you're doing now is Easter.
It's done. I mean, if you don't have a deal within the next week under contract, you're not closing this year unless it's cash or whatever else. Always things. So our mindset, really after like December 10th, is 2022. What are we building to? Yes, let's close 2021 out strong. Don't get me wrong. But what are we building to that's going to make you different from what you did this year to next year? What are your goals? What are your financial opportunities? All these other things so that you can run your business solely.
This is not only in your business, but our business as well. I mean, what we're doing now is really, you're not really going to see the fruit for 90 to 120 days. So if you're out there prospecting or whatever, you got to have that 4-6 month look out. You just because you got a deal now, hopefully that closes by December 31st. But what do you can't wait till January 1st to start and go, I got to work on the next deal.
You can't
unless you're a part timer.
Yeah, and so in our brokerage, we always say what you do January, you should be doing in August. So if you're a mailer person, you should do it consistently. Unfortunately, we live in this get-rich-quick scheme lifestyle of people fall in love with Ryan Serhant on $1 Million Listing or HGTV and think I could go and do that, but they really don't see what work they put in and the hours they put in.
Read his book and you'll find out.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think being able to set yourself up and say, okay, for 12 months, I'm going to tell myself this is my goals every day. That's why every single business model that we start with, it always starts with what's your big why. Why are you waking up in the morning? Why are you holding an open house August 31st at 1 o'clock on Sunday? Why are you working as hard as you are? Because in the dog days of this real estate year, you can go back and say, I'm doing this because I want to do blank, right? Whatever that may be for somebody. Yeah. And that's what we always start with is what is your why and why are you doing it, right?
You mentioned that, and I'm going to go on a slight, if I can go on a, I don't know, not a rant. I don't know, something might call it a rant. But like you said, what is my why? And I just got back from we went on a cruise. I hadn't taken vacation. I said, we're going away, and we, took off. And, my thing was I've got to decompress.
Always.
It's been a crazy, best year I've ever had in the mortgage business personally. Thank you. And you know what really is the most powerful thing? I know a lot of people out there listening, they have their charities or their heart things that they are passionate about. And to be able to go into a restaurant, as we know, a lot of our wait staff and so forth have got hurt, during.
Absolutely. Tip
30%. They did a great job. I don't know. Maybe if you buy a beer and leave them a $5 bill instead of just $1. Yeah. That's to me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. And giving back, I think, is typically most people's, if not number one, maybe 2 or 3 points of why they're why. They want to do something for a loved one. They want to do something for a foundation. They want to do something for whatever it may be. And that's what we love to do. So Engel Völkers, we are the only residential real estate company in the entire world that's partnered with the Special Olympics on a corporate level.
Cool.
And so actually it's really exciting because our Jacksonville local office is number 1 right now out of 350 shops for donations paid at closing to the Special Olympics. So we're really pushing to win, and we want to win because it's a fantastic thing. And so all of our advisors who have given contributions at closing, it's just so tremendous. To be able to give back for that and being able to reward people who maybe be less fortunate, because I think every successful person at one point in time has had help. And, other people are just not blessed with opportunities like some people are. And so if you can give back to that or give back to the wait staff or whatever, it makes working hard a lot easier.
It really, I mean, that's my gratification. I let, my kid wants something, unless it's, my wife doesn't agree with it because of a learning thing. But if they want it and I want to give it to them, I can do that. If that's your why, that's what it's all about in putting the time in and getting energy. Let me see if I've got a question on here because we've been talking a lot and I think I've used like 2 of my questions so far. All right. Who has been the greatest impact on your life so far?
Gosh,
digging deep here. We're gonna get some real serious interview questions now.
To be honest with you, I think my head coach in college, Frank Solich. He's somebody who took a 17-year-old snotty-nosed kid, thought he was everything, and really made him into the man that I am today. To be honest with you, I've always worked hard. I've always been decent kid, type thing. I would get bored a lot, so I'd get in trouble, but. I think in college, those growth years that you're 17, 18, 19, 20 really make you into the man that you are today. And so Frank Solich is somebody, and that whole coaching staff, Peter Germano, who was my defensive coordinator, and D-line coach, are guys that still to this day I talk to, and still to this day I look up to, because they changed my life so dramatically and gave me an opportunity to get a college education, play Division I football, start 30 games in a row, play in the NFL. I mean, I would have had none of that ever without them. And so, I think their aspect of what they've done for my life is something that, I can't even see.
The impact of sports, being male, I can't necessarily speak from the female side, but we've had coaches, I look back and even at times we're like almost, I wouldn't say hated them, but like, but they're the ones like when you walk in the room and like, you better be on your pep, better be in your step because otherwise he's going to recognize it and you didn't want to let him down. Yeah.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think any successful program, company, whatever, has a standard. And I think and culture, essentially, if you want to use that word too. But the standard is set that whenever we're in the meeting room, this is what it is. Mm-hmm. Whenever we're out at practice, this is what it is. And if it's not, if you're off the deviant point, then you're going to get run after, you're going to get yelled after. And you look at these guys as true father figures, and the whole point is, I can't let them down. Right. So I got to go above and beyond.
Right.
And that's what I think is an amazing leader, is if you can bring out everybody can play 100%, right? But if you can bring out the 110, 120% in people, where the fact that they're willing to, let's be honest, like not hypothetically, but die for you, like that is something that you go above and beyond, and it comes so natural because it comes out of love. I think, like I truly loved Frank Solich.
Do you feel, I'm 20 years older than you, and I tell my son this sometimes because I've coached him in a few different things, and I'm allowed. I get out there because I'm passionate at what I do. Mm-hmm. I try not to, I have to think about the encouragement side, because of more of what we would label your generation. But when I grew up, basically, if they weren't in your face, they didn't care about you.
Yeah.
Today, it seems to be the people feel, oh, he's in my face.
Yeah.
He's trying to demean me.
Yeah.
Did you have?
I mean,
football kind of, because you had old time guys like me coaching you.
Yeah. I mean, I think tough love is great for everybody, because I think if you grow up in life and you're pampered and you never really get, I don't want to say yelled at, but you kind of give whatever you want and all these different things.
You don't want to do that today? Okay.
Yeah, I think tough love is something that truly builds hard work and work ethic. Mm-hmm. And I think, don't get me wrong, I don't ever agree with like people's, like grabbing people's face masks and doing crazy stuff.
Right.
But at the same time, I think every personality is different, and I think a good coach or a good leader can dictate, okay, this is the type of guy I can yell at. This is the type of guy I need to encourage.
Right.
And I think that's where a really good coach sets itself
It's more
apart.
Scientific today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, because
even at the highest level of the NFL, some of these guys.
No, I mean, that's a business. I mean, there's no screaming. I mean, you don't call coaches coach, you call them by their first name in the NFL. I mean, it's a whole different aspect of it. Right. And that's why, there's a lot of really good college coaches who don't really always make it in the NFL and vice versa.
Right.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Right.
And I think understanding the personality of the kid, personality of the employee, personality of whoever, being able to say, okay, this person I can be a little harder on because they can take it. This person I really need to encourage because of their personality. I think it's everything.
Well, it's that concept of like, the best player is a lot of times who the coaches go after because they're showing the last guy on the bench.
Yeah.
He's the best player on the team. I'm not coddling him and giving him the VIP room. I'm actually on his butt.
Absolutely.
So you need to stay in line. Yeah. And I think it gets. You go the extra. You show people they can go the extra mile. I think you would go back to the business standpoint. Again, at your young age, you're showing some of these agents the path. Yeah, they've been making a great life for the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden they went 10 or 20% more. Like, oh wow. Mm-hmm. Now I got extra for the charity college fund, whatever it is, but. You push them to another level as you would on the athletic field. You get some of them run a little bit faster, to the point where you actually may fall on your face, because you're running so fast, or hit so much harder, or whatever it is. You're getting them to go that extra 10, 20%, whatever.
Yeah, and I think competition a lot of times breeds that because let's be honest, real estate agents love having trophies and their names on things, and so if you can surround them with people who are competition for them, but very healthy competition, you know, where, hey, you know what? I see that Sally Smith is holding an open house on Saturday to get buyers. I'm going to go do one on Sunday. Or, hey, you know what? I'm going to take this Zillow call or whatever that I really don't want to because I want to win that top producer this month or whatever it may be.
Right.
I think being able to be accountable and holding people that are healthy around you that all obviously at the same time, yes, they want to beat you, but at the same time, they also want you to do well. I think is really, really important.
All right, here's one of these deep interview questions. What do you feel is the most important thing you have done? Now, you've done many. I'm sure you could have put out a list, but what do you think is the foundation that's put you on such an upward trajectory?
That's a great question. I think that the best thing that I have done in the trajectory is I've built a culture that people can take pride in, I think. Because I think if you ask any one of our advisors, no matter if they've been with us for a month or 3.5 years, is they love the people they work with. And I think that they love the shop staff. Hopefully they love me. But at the same time, I think we have created a culture that people are drawn to. And I think for me, like we've always wanted to break the standard of how real estate was done, right? That's our biggest foundation of our brokerage. But we built that through collaboration. We built that with really good people who want to work with other really good people who want to sell real estate. And so I think things I'm most proud of is the culture of the people we brought on and we have with us, because if you have great people who obviously are very successful, the awards will come. The shop openings will come. The production will come.
Let me give this analogy. So you Milford High. I wrote that down. You went to Milford High.
Yeah.
Was that, I mean, were you a state championship team or, I mean, were you pretty much the best player on the team or one of the top 2 or 3?
Well, we're a huge Division I school in Cincinnati. So I graduated with 1,200 kids, and football in Cincinnati is no joke. Like we have Moeller, St. X, Lookout West, all these big schools.
1,200 students in your class.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we sucked. Well, I think the most wins we ever won I started varsity as a freshman, so my 4 years, like I think we 4, maybe 5. But I'll tell you what, it taught me lessons because, once you get knocked down, it's about how you get back up. In the competition we were playing against, every single game, there was this guy's going to Division I, this guy's going to LSU, this guy's going to Ohio State. I mean, there's so many. Like, I played the 2006 Coleraine team had 31 Division I athletes on their team. Only 22 players play at once, right?
Right.
But,
that's like IMG over in Sarasota.
It's insane. They're in history books as Ohio's history, like one of the top 5 greatest teams ever.
Right.
And they beat us 70-3. But their entire offensive line went Division I, so I was able to play and all this.
So you go from. I'm doing an analogy. I'm going to help me out here. So you go from like some of these large brokerages as just 60, 70, 100 agents signed up underneath them out of this office, but
yeah.
There's only a couple of them producing. You were that guy on the Milford High School team.
Yeah.
Now you go to Ohio University. Mm-hmm. Now you've got these guys have been recruited in.
Yeah.
They're being your scholarship level.
Yeah.
And then you were able to actually get recognized by an NFL team and actually participate. You said 6 games. I think you said with the Bengals and so forth. So you go from that to a little bit more to the highest level you could play at.
Yeah.
And I look at this as your Engel Völkers.
Yeah.
As what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. You want to grab that top producer from XYZ over here that has 100 agents working at him and come join the scholarship team. Yeah. Come join that Division I team. Yeah. Because somebody out of there is going to go, be real big time.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't say to be a Ryan Serhant, we don't have that kind of dollar values, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm seeing in relating to your football. I don't know if you thought about that before.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see the correlation, and I think for us, we just want to be different, and we want our customers to see the difference from the day they walk into our shop, the way that they meet and talk to our advisor, the way that our advisor handles himself professionally. Our biggest thing is we want the consumer on the other side, buyer side, whatever it may be, or even agent on the other side to say, you know what, that was just different. They were professional, they were educated, they were ethical, they were great people. That was a fantastic transaction. And that's what we want to constantly have. And so, I think the correlation from college to pro is definitely there. And hopefully we can continue to bring as many all pros on as possible.
Right. I have to admire too. You've had some great success, but you're still looking to grow because I think a lot of people your age or even my age. I mean, they would open the first shop, which was it Jack's Beach? Was your
Jack's
first shop?
Beach. Mm-hmm.
And you go, oh, I could sit here, man. I'm making a great living. I'll go out and do a couple sales myself, and I'll just sit back. But you have a greater vision.
Yeah.
And expanding your energy going on, and I'm sure financially, you're reinvesting a lot of what.
Of course.
The brokerage is doing to make that impact and make the company, well, at least your franchise, very valuable. Hope maybe one day you sell it and retire. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely see. I mean, it's funny because when I first opened the brokerage, I thought to myself, if I can get 15 to 20 really good advisors, I'll happy.
Just be good.
But then what happened is we started getting so much interest, and then I saw so much opportunity to expand to St. John's, so much opportunity to expand to the Beaches Town Center, Atlantic Beach, so much opportunity to expand to Amelia Island. Because my thing is, yes, we have our criteria, and yes, we're really strict on our criteria, but if people meet the criteria, I'm not going to tell them no. I want great people. I want big producers, and so. I don't think we'll ever be number one with market share, which is fine. We don't need to be because, a lot of brokerages here have 10 locations, 500 agents or 2,000 agents, whatever crazy it is. Right. But our biggest goal is we want to get to $1 billion in sales with a fraction of the agent count of other brokerages. Like we want to get there with 100,
high
110,
quality.
And really just continue to dominate that space. Mm-hmm. And if we continue to grow to get to 1.5 billion, fantastic. But our goal right now, and a lot of other goals, but our biggest goal is to get to $1 billion in sales. And so we're close, but it's a day-by-day process. You have to go through the ups and downs of the real estate market, just like there is in the broker market. You might have somebody leave, you might have someone this, you might have somebody who tells you they're going to join, but then they don't. You might have an LOI fall out of your brand new space. I mean, there's so many different things you have to worry about. But, start trying to stay focused on the goal is the foundation of our growth.
All right. I'm going to start to wind down a little bit. I got one last question because I know standard interview questions. You've recruited some teams.
Yeah.
But you also have some individuals.
Absolutely.
Without spoiling everything.
Yeah.
Without discouraging anyone or being, what do you prefer? Do you prefer the individual or your teams because they're so good? Yeah. They run themselves, and you really don't have to get involved in the politics.
To be honest with you, I don't have a preference. I know that's very gray to say, but I prefer the really good people who want to invest into the company and want to grow. And if that means you have a team of 10, fantastic. If that means you have a person that's just you, even better. Right. I have relationships with every single person in our brokerage. Every single person who joins has to sit down with me, interview, because it starts at the top. It starts with me, and I think that's where. Potentially, obviously I've never been, I don't know, but other bigger brokerages lose sight of that is because they lose sight of what the actual brokerage is all about, and it's about the agents.
I assume you have an inner circle. You have a amongst your, because you've obviously recruited some very experienced people. Mm-hmm. You meet with them on some regular basis, or maybe get on a phone call with everyone because not everyone's in the same. Yeah. And just confide on, hey, this is this is a direction I want to go, or a marketing plan I might have, or whatever.
Not really, to be honest with you. I mean, I talk to them a lot. I probably
get their feedback.
I talk to probably, if not every single on our brokerage every week, but definitely throughout the month, or I'll see them in the office, or I'll do something like that. I'm very visible. I'm always available to people. They always know that. Mm-hmm. But I really don't bother them with what my visions are. When I talk to them, it's how.
Well, they know what your vision is.
Yeah,
but the
final tunes. I mean, there's only a couple people who really know, hey, this is what we're working on. Mm-hmm. And it's because I want them to focus on what they have going on, and know that hey, I'm here for you, whatever you may need. Right. And when the time comes when we can announce it, or hey, this is the thought we're doing, then yeah, absolutely, we'll shout from the rooftop. But I don't want to, and also in this business, things change so quickly. So you may say, hey, I'm opening a new office in blank. And then next thing you know, you lose the LOI, you lose this, you lose that, and next thing you know, it's hey, where's this office?
Why didn't we decided not to do it? Yeah. I agree.
I'm very guarded on that, just because I don't want to ever overpromise and underdeliver. I'd rather have the opposite, obviously. And so I have an inner circle with things that we talk about, but I don't want to bother our producers on.
Some of the minor. You might go back to the franchise support or something like that. Yeah. But you're right. You distract people by, we're going to open a new office, and then they get all distracted by that. Should I move over there? Or
it's never a good thing. I want people to focus on money producing activities every single step of the way.
All right. So I call these my 2-minute warning questions since I officiate football. So just to kind of finalize things, I definitely, Corey, I'd love to have you on at least on a yearly basis because, I mean, your energy and what's going on and with you guys. But is it more important who you know or what you know?
I think who you know for sure. I mean, because let's be honest. I mean, if you know somebody that can get you tickets at something else, it's not about who you know, what you know. It's about getting that ticket, you know. And I think in life it's about opportunity and what doors you can get in. And so it's about knowing people who can get you in those doors.
Yeah. Now I know I think you have a young lady in your life.
Yes,
I saw on your Facebook page there. You're a sporting guy. Are you a Jaguars? You like to go to the Iceman or a Jumbo Shrimp guy?
I'm not from Jacksonville. I mean, my beautiful girlfriend Christina and I, we do go to different things. Like we love going to, games and concerts and that stuff. But to be honest with you, I'm not a Jags fan. I know it's tough. I'm sorry. I'm not from here, so my Sunday is my down day. I'm on the couch.
Are you a Cleveland guy or a Cincinnati guy?
I'm a fantasy football guy. Whoever's on my team that I have, drafted and is going to possibly win me money, that's who I'm rooting for. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I have a lot of friends in the NFL still, so I root for a lot of teams. Like I love watching good football.
Yes.
And so I really don't care who wins. I love watching Aaron Rodgers play. I love watching Tom Brady play. I love watching Von Miller play. These players that, from a perspective of an ex-NFL athlete, to say, holy crap, did you see what they just did? There's one person on this earth that can do that, and it's them. That, to me, is mind-blowing.
The benefit of officiating is you have the best seat in the house.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I love doing, and I wish I had time for basketball as well, but football has been my thing, and done some small college stuff, and now I'm just back to doing Friday nights this past year, and being on the sidelines of a good football game, and when you understand the inner workings, and you can stand there and you literally you're focused on a couple of players as an official. That's why there's so many officials, and understanding, and then seeing how the coaches interact. That's having the best seat in the house.
I love it.
What's on you and Christina, right?
Yeah.
Christina's travel bucket list.
Actually, we just got back from Mexico on Saturday.
Okay.
So I love traveling in general, but over Thanksgiving, because you get a couple of days off that's built into the calendar, those type of things. And so we actually just got back. I
just did an 8-day cruise.
Yeah,
last year. I got back on Sunday.
So one of my neutrals is I travel and get away, decompress, get away from the stress and just refocus, get remotivated. We're going to New York in December 15th weekend, quick trip Friday to Sunday. Our headquarters is up there in Americas on Park Avenue, but also it's just New York this time of year is amazing.
Yeah.
And, we'll probably do something for New Year's, stuff like that. So we love to travel. I mean,
I'm interested in that. Give me some on-the-ground feedback because with the COVID thing, because we're looking to do something at Christmas time when the kids are off 2 weeks. And I thought, this would be a great time to go see Rockefeller Center and that sort of thing. But I was always concerned about what the COVID restrictions is, because it can be cumbersome. Yeah. And you can't go do things that you want to normally do when you're in New York under normal times. So, Corey, I really appreciate you coming on the show today.
My pleasure.
That was excellent. Hopefully our fans out there, please make comments. I don't normally push that, but on the audio podcast, and those of you on the Facebook, please share it. Would love it. Corey, I got an agent out there who wants to talk to you about your team. What's the best way to reach you?
You can email me. It's probably the best way. Or it's this Corey.Hasting@evUSA.com. Or you can always just call my cell phone, honestly. It's this area code 513-406-0528.
You going to move to Jacksonville eventually and get a 904 number?
I've had the same phone number since I was 8, so I'm not changing it. So
since you were 8?
My dad got me the Nokia emergency only phone when I was 8 years old. And between playing Snake and, who knows else what I was doing on that thing, I had the same number. And so I always told myself if I ever changed it, I would lose 4,000 people's contacts. And so whenever I was selling, I actually bought an app. You could have it on a 4 number, and I had that. But it's this is Jacksonville. Everybody's moving here anyway. Nobody has a 904 number anymore. So it is all good.
That's great. All right. Thanks again, Corey.
My pleasure.